Welcome back to Bus Notes. I'm Vinny Nardiello. I'm a teacher. I'm a comedian. I know what's going on right now. You're sitting on the bus. You haven't read the book. You haven't read the study guide, but don't worry. I'm your study guide. It's Bus Notes. Today we're looking at The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. It was first published in 1925, and since then few stories have captured the imagination of people quite like The Great Gatsby. It has everything that people love. It has unrequited love. It has the pursuit of material possessions. It has the mafia. People loved this 100 years ago. They love it now. And unless a meteor comes, they're going to love it 100 years into the future. It's a timeless story, but you're out of time. So here's 5 things that you'll need to know to convince your teacher that you read The Great Gatsby. Number 1, the setting. This takes place on Long Island, and the geography is really important. It's on 2 little inlets called West Egg and East Egg. On East Egg, this is the old money. These are people who have money in their family for hundreds of years. All right, they're refined. They don't like to make a big show of their wealth. They maybe are even a little bit embarrassed of their wealth. Across the way in the water, then we have West Egg. West Egg is the new money. These are people that recently made their money, either through the underworld or stock market. It's a new booming economy in the 1920s, and we have a lot of people making money for the first time. And they want to show this money off. They want to throw this money around. So they live in these big, lavish mansions and throw wild parties. In between the two, we have something called the Valley of Ashes. Now, the Valley of Ashes is the poor industrial area that leads into New York City. And there's these 2 big eyes on a billboard, okay? There's a billboard, the eyes of Dr. T.J. Eckelberg, symbolizing the eyes of God, looking over the Valley of Ashes. Number 2, people to know. All right, we have Nick Carraway. He's our narrator. He says he's the only honest man he knows, which maybe makes him a good narrator. He's from the Midwest, and now he's living in New York, where he's reconnected with his cousin, Daisy Buchanan. She's married to a man named Tom Buchanan. Tom is the alpha male, all right? Makes a lot of money from a very wealthy family, and he's cheating on her. He's been cheating on her since they were married, and now he's cheating on her with a woman named Myrtle. Myrtle lives down in the Valley of Ashes, where she's married to a mechanic named George. She sees Tom as her ticket out of the Valley of Ashes and into a world of wealth. Finally, we have Jay Gatsby. Jay Gatsby is our title character, and he's a man of mystery. He holds these big lavish parties at his mansion out on West Egg, and he fills it with people, hoping to one day see Daisy Buchanan. All right, Daisy's a long-lost love, and he has these parties in hopes that one day she'll walk into his house. Number 3, the green light. Okay, good news. She does wander into his house. They reconnect, fall back in love, and she begins an affair with Gatsby. Gatsby gives her the kind of attention that Tom hasn't given her in years. He's a bit of a stalker. And when I say the green light, I mean literally there's a green light at the end of Daisy's dock. All right, Gatsby's house is in West Egg, she's in East Egg, and he gazes across the water and sees that green light. And it symbolizes that she's right there. He can practically reach out and touch her, trying to attain this long-lost love, Daisy. All right, but like I said, he's been following her around. He has clippings of her. He buys a house across the water just so maybe he could see her. It's a beautiful love story, but yes, he's a creepy stalker. Number 4, lots and lots of death. All right, let's try to keep this straight here, okay? It's very confusing. While they're having the affair, Tom figures out that Gatsby and Daisy are together. And at one point, they're all drinking, having a great time together, and decide to go to the city. So they go into each other's cars. When I say each other, I mean they actually switch cars. All right, so we have Gatsby's yellow car, which is being driven by Tom with Jordan and Nick in the car with him. And then we have a white car belonging to Tom and Daisy being driven by Daisy and Gatsby. So they go to the city, they start drinking, they have a big fight, and they head back. But they've switched cars. I don't even know why they had each other's car in the first place. Just go with the story, okay? So Gatsby and Daisy are driving the yellow car back, and who sees this yellow car from a window but Myrtle? Myrtle's being held captive by her husband George, who's figured out that she's having an affair with somebody, doesn't know who. She runs out to stop the car, and boom! Gatsby kills her, runs her right over, and he and Daisy keep on going. George, Myrtle's husband, wants to know who killed her. So now George, her husband, wants to figure out who was driving this car. So he goes to see Tom, because Tom had that car earlier. Tom is all too happy to point him in the direction of Gatsby. George goes to Gatsby's house while Gatsby's in the pool, shoots Gatsby in the back, shoots himself. They're both dead. So Fitzgerald kind of has a reputation as being a suck-up to the rich. But if you actually look at the way he views the rich and the poor people, the people who started out poor in this book, Gatsby and Myrtle and George, they're the ones who wind up getting killed by the rich people. The rich people create all this chaos and then throw money at the problem to make it go away and just go on with their lives. Number 5, the Jazz Age. This is the 1920s book. I mean, it's the book that defines the 1920s. People who had newfound wealth. People were showing off that wealth. And Fitzgerald himself, as a famous writer, was living that lifestyle, going to parties, hobnobbing with all the elite in entertainment and business. All right, but he was also kind of his warning. He knew what was coming. He knew that we cannot sustain the lifestyle of the 1920s. There was a dark side to the 1920s. And Fitzgerald himself kind of embodied that because Fitzgerald wound up drinking himself to death. Fitzgerald was dead by the time he was 42 years old. He died. He could not sustain this kind of lifestyle. He knew it was coming. There's a reason the Jazz Age is also called the Gilded Age. When something is gilded, it's something that's cheap kind of metal, but it's covered in gold. All right, so it looks shiny and bright, but underneath, it's worthless. Bonus, the character of Meyer Wolfsheim is actually based on Arnold Rothstein and Meyer Lansky, two real-life gangsters. And in the story, they say that he fixed the World Series. This actually happened. In 1919, the Chicago White Sox were heavily favored to win the World Series. However, gamblers got a hold of them, paid them off, and convinced them to throw the World Series. It's been dubbed the Black Sox scandal. It's been covered in movies like 8 Men Out and Field of Dreams. All good movies, stuff you should watch. Read this book. It's well worth it. You can't consider yourself a well-versed person if you have not read The Great Gatsby. So you have to listen to your teacher, listen to me, go back and read this book. That's it for Bus Notes. If there's a book that you want us to cover in the future, be sure to leave us a comment. We'll try to get to it. Be sure to subscribe. Follow us on social media. Come on, everybody. Let people know about Bus Notes. Let's get that C together.